Guys, hope we're good. Thanks for tuning in. It's the season finale of the Slimming World series. Hopefully you've watched the last couple of episodes before this. If not, add it to a playlist. Go back and watch it. This is the final episode to get together the whole subject that is Slimming World. And after this episode, including the other 4, you're going to have an idea of what to do with your Slimming World membership or to avoid getting a membership. Enjoy. Christy boy, hello.
How you doing, big man?
Have you been looking forward to coming?
Always, mate. I wasn't going to say it this week, but do you know what, mate? It's my favourite time of the week. Fucking love it, mate. You patched me last week a wee bit, but what's happening after this? What's your future?
Just obviously with COVID and stuff, mate. I can't commit to it.
Yeah, fuck are you? I'm coming anyway, mate. No matter who you're getting here every Friday. Paul, you're going to be here every Friday too. Good,
Jim's shutting all that. Aye, mate. So final episode.
It's been good, mate. I genuinely enjoyed this whole experience talking about Slimming World. I've actually learned some extra stuff that I didn't know, mate, which
to help clients.
To help people, mate. Aye, to help people going forward. Like I said the last time, I knew the chunks of it. Probably I knew all the negatives about it. I know even more. So aye, it's helpful for my guys as well, mate. Like, and anybody who asks me about it, I can give them even more insight. So it's been good, mate.
Yep, mate. It's educating personal trainers because they can now help their clients better with more knowledge. And it's educating people who have thought about Slimming World or even just anyone who's interested in weight fat loss in general. So hopefully that you feel the same watching and listening to it. I'm the same, mate. I think when I would tell the truth, the first 4 years of coaching, you hear about Slimming World and then you hear it's bad or you hear it's no good and you just go, okay, I'll agree then.
Aye.
So that's again why we did this series. So it's like, right, well, why are we saying that? Can we come up with more concrete evidence? I ask 50 people their honest opinion. And that's what we've done, mate. That's how we can now present it almost. We're not officially going to present it to somebody, a governing body, but we're going to be like, this is our findings. And that's it.
Mate, a lot of it's been discovered as well from other people, which is good.
Yep.
Like, steady PTs passing down all their negative like opinions on it and then us believing it, like we've all done for the last 8-9 years. Actually getting it for the horse's mouth as such. It's been good.
Yep. Spot on, mate. So final question. Obviously, let me just skim back over the questions for those just tuning into this episode instead of watching the rest of them. First question we asked was, what did you learn from your Slimming World experience? Episode 2 was, did your body physically change, i.e. your shape, your muscles, body fat, did you get toned, etc.? Episode 3 was, did you feel restricted? Episode 4, what did you think was missing from the experience? And of course today is, if you made progress, did you retain most of it when you left? If you never made progress, why not? So that's the question today, mate. I would say probably it's the best till last, I think, because ultimately you go to a service, whether it's a personal trainer, a weight loss club, you go for one reason, a result.
Absolutely.
You go for an outcome. And obviously this question is centered around, right, did you get the desired outcome? Most importantly, especially when it comes to fat loss and any kind of pursuit of a goal, you want to be able to keep it, because any Tom, Dick and Harry can get somewhere, i.e. MD can lose weight. The most important factor is if you can keep it off. Because the fluctuations in losing weight and gaining weight can have undesirable effects on your health, physical and mental. So a really good question, mate.
I love it, mate. I think it's going to be, obviously we've no spoke about this, but I'm assuming if I was to guess that we're going to get some good answers here for the guys who you sent the stuff out to, because I could give you probably 50 people who work under me and with my team who could tell the same thing, that results when they're long lasting. I don't want to spoil it, but because I don't know the answers, but if you were to ask me, mate, results when they're long lasting, and that's why I'm now dealing with them. And like I said the last episode, that's why I'm now, as you corrected me, re-educating them, but I'm not actually re-educating them, I'm just educating them. So I'm assuming it's going to be something along the lines of that, mate, because I can't see it going another way.
Mate, to be honest, 30 plus said the same thing.
Wow.
And taking this snippet from this person here was, ended up putting it back on, which I'm sure you're not surprised about me saying that. Ended up putting it back on, ended up putting back on what I lost and more after slipping into old habits. So let's look at that statement now from someone who's answered that question, mate, is because ended up putting it back on is right across the board, by the way, let's be honest. But they ended up putting it back on what they lost and more after they slipped into bad habits or old habits. So that to me screams right away, mate, that any habits that they had were never really fixed. No. And obviously the education thing then came into play, i.e. the person went solo, didn't know what they were doing because they never went to their Tuesday night club and get told what to eat, left, and all the old habits like probably snacking, typical stuff we talk about, not tracking food. Well, that's not going to happen anyway in Slimming World, but all these kind of habits. You see how it's hard to get habits that Slimming World fix? Yeah, do you get what I mean, mate? I was trying to list habits that Slimming World fix there, but
the only habit they could probably try and fix is not putting people on the scales every time you come in.
Yeah.
And then asking them why they fucking didn't lose £2 that week.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
So who do you think, see with that there, mate, right? Who do you think gets the blame for that? So you're a member, right? Yep. You go in, you step on the scales, you're losing weight, you get to your target weight, you leave Slimming World, then you pile the weight back on. Whose fault's that?
Ultimately, mate, like, I'm going to probably give you the answer I don't think you want to, right? But I've just been honest against some of the podcast. It's a bit of both, right? Because I'm still a believer that in order to change, well, saying that now, I'm thinking about it. You go to Slimming World for a reason, right? You go to Slimming World for help because you're probably vulnerable, you don't know what you're doing, right? So probably Slimming World, mate, now I think about it, because they're not educating people. I'm thinking about it from a perspective of like, if you want to change, you'll change. But if you don't know how to change, mate. So I was going to say both of the parties, but I'm going to change my mind, because if I'm trying to think from a perspective, if I've not got a clue what I'm doing and I step into Slimming World for help and they've not got the system to help me, then it probably is their fault.
Right, but who is the person? I mean, you're doing that because you're evaluating a service, mate. Put your client hat on, or put your member hat on, and go, I've just put my 2 stone back on. Well, guess what? It's my fault because I've been eating that. I've not done this. I've not done that. The client blames himself, mate.
Oh, mate, aye.
That's the biggest worry I think that we've got. They're never going to blame Slimming World because they're still there on a Tuesday night weighing other people.
Yep.
They've not done anything different. If anything, we are in a vulnerable position, as we've discussed the last 4 episodes. We have said that people come needing your help. Yep. So they go into Slimming World. They don't know the big world of educating you on calories. They don't know that big world. Yep. It's all a different solar system to them. So they come in, they put the weight back on, because of course the old habits have creeped back. They're only going to blame themselves, mate. They're not going to go back and chap Slimming World. Don't go, here, I left 2 months ago, right? And I've put my 2 stone back on. It's your fault. They're not going to.
Sorry, mate. I know you were asking the question there, like, who do you think blames himself?
Aye,
the client. But ultimately, it's probably a big part of David Slimming World's fault, because they don't have the system. Well, it is Slimming World's fault. They don't have the systems available to support people long term. And the client / member knows nothing about anything, mate, probably. So when they go into that, they think they're going to get the help they need. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? No, but the client's always blaming themselves, mate.
Yep.
Always.
And there's no aftercare as well, mate.
Yeah.
Obviously, aftercare isn't a touch base when you're not paying for a service anymore, but aftercare is leaving with education, leaving with, right, if you've got any questions before you go. You know what it's like when a client finishes up with us, mate? It's like, look, do you understand that you might come across certain things that popped up that we solved? If you do understand that, great. Are you okay with solving it? Chris, what was it you said about, that when it comes to that? How is it a plan? Have you got that daily planner there that I can make sure that my day's got on me? Yep, here you go. Right, you happy now? Cool. On your way, solo. Yep. They don't have that kind of system. And I think we obviously we're talking here about progress and retaining progress. It's crucial that us as personal trainers and coaches, we've got a thought process of care. The service is there. Then the after service is almost there. I mean, we're not just coaching people for free after it, but we're like I say, are you leaving with the tools to go yourself? Yep. If not, you may need to stay. I would advise that you stay, because we've only just sorted your relationship with food. Yep. We've only just managed to get you moving your body and consistent prioritising you over your work. So making people aware of that is a good situation. Unfortunately, Slimming World, it's a case of, I didn't show up last week and I'm not going to come back. And nobody for Slimming World is going to phone you and be like, Singer, where have you been, hen? We need your $5.
No chance, mate. That just reminds me of a situation this morning. One of my members who I noticed, because we use that same app as you use for people booking into sessions. Mm-hmm. I won't say it, obviously, but...
I know, unless they want to pay for it.
Other apps are available. And I noticed that this lassie she's been coming regularly, spot on all the time. And I noticed she cancelled her last 2 classes quite early before them. So I thought I'll drop her a wee text message just to make sure everything's all right. But at Slimming World, mate, that wouldn't happen. It turns out the lassie had really couple of stressful nights at work and she just didn't have any energy to come to class, mate. She didn't feel like it, but she's sound. But the point in that was, mate, like, I would check and notice a wee situation happening where that one person, I'm like, she comes up all the time. I messaged Josh, I said, did this lassie check in with you at the weekend? I knew he was going to say no, because she didn't come to her classes. And then we could recognise that something's a wee bit off, mate, do you know what I mean? So reach out, make sure she's good, make sure if she needs anything, we've got support for her. But as Slimming World, mate, you wouldn't get that. You'd just be left. It's only, end of the day, mate, to them it's only a fiver. You're just a £5 note. So,
but it also goes back to the model. That's not what they're not there to check up on you, because it's not their model. So let's look at that. What do you need that checkup? Then it's not the right service for you. It goes back to me talking about the pre-mart jacket. If you need your jacket to last you a long time and you're going to be up hills and mountains with it, that's not the jacket for you. You need to spend more money, get a Burgos or a North Face. We're no way affiliated by them, but we're open to offers.
Should try it,
But that, mate, as well as that, it ties into episode 4. Episode 4 was, what did you think was missing from the experience? And a lot of you told us that the personal touch.
Of course, mate.
Do you know what I mean? It was massive. That personal touch. So again, this question ties in nicely with this, and that is probably one of the biggest reasons that you don't retain your progress, is because there's no aftercare and there's no touch base of going, hey, I hope everything's all right. Even a lot of your clients you follow on Instagram and stuff like that, and you see their stuff and you can touch base with them then and go, look, seems like you're smashing it, good to hear. So yeah, that's the first point, mate. I tried to keep up once I finished, but I started training in the gym after it and my weight wasn't budging. So this person was in Slimming World, she was losing weight on the scale. She then decided, right, I'm going to go solo. She started taking a liking to weight training, but in her mind it was still right. The biggest progress measure was scales. So this lassie's actually got motivated to weight train. Somewhere would have helped her lose fat. But unfortunately, that attachment to the scale then led this person to think that weight training isn't a good tool for fat loss or weight loss.
Like you're saying, mate, she's the whole premise of her success is whether the scale budged or not. That's what you can get for that messenger. So obviously she's been weightlifting, so her weight's probably staying the same because she might be losing some fat, but the lean tissue muscle is getting better. Do you know what I mean? So as you say, she's probably disappointing herself because her weight's not budging. Which is just, as we know, isn't a smart metric for success. But that's what they've been brainwashed into, mate. That's what they've been taught and learned to. This is success when you lose £2 this week, when you lose £2 the next week, as opposed to all the shit we've spoke about in the last 5 weeks, mate. You know what I mean? How weight training does good for your posture, your everything, mate, your mental health. So, we can see that's a clear statement saying that the damage that the scales do to people.
So obviously, in the instance we spoke about in previous episodes, is they advise not to weight train. In this case, it's actually led somebody further down the line after it to still think that weight training is bad because, like you say, mate, that progress measure was always a scale. But guys, if you're listening to that and that hits a sort of nail in the head, then previous episodes will be perfect for you. Trust me. Episode 2. Cool. Right, mate, next one. So if I ever lost weight, I would always put it on. The stinger was that you paid a £5 every week, even if you missed a week. So this person's obviously thought about the fact that she lost the weight every time she put it back. Yeah, she put it back on every time she lost it. But also she's referring to the fact that it's a £5 every week, even if you miss your turn. So obviously they pay a £5 to go and stand on the scale. And if you miss it, then you need to pay it still.
So you still, are we talking about the 2 points here? The
2 points, mate. You fire away.
Right, so the first one, can you say the first one again, mate?
First one, mate, she says, same idea. If I ever lost weight, I would always put it back on.
Right, so the reason she's putting the weight back on is because she was never educated in how she got it off in the first place. Simple as that. Like, she was not getting educated in how to manage that even though it's not even looking at weight, mate, she's getting brainwashed again doing that weight loss road. But just to reply to her comment there, she's putting weight back on and off is because she, first of all, doesn't understand that the weight doesn't even matter, and secondly, she doesn't know how to actually manage her weight in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't know how to manage what she's trying to achieve. So in her head, it's just like weight back on, weight off, weight back on, weight off. As opposed to like, how do you feel? Have you been sleeping? Are you stressed? Do you know what I mean? None of that was taken into consideration. It's another one, mate. It's just weight. Weight related. The £5 one, mate, what you got to say about that? You had to pay a £5 for no showing up. So what did you do? Just show up the next day and give you like a tenner? Here's my back due cash for no showing up last time.
Fuck's sake.
I wonder how to justify that.
I have no idea, mate. I have no idea. You must agree right? If they must do something like, right, my target weight is this amount. Okay, right, you do want to pay up front for 10 weeks or whatever, or you can pay as you go, but we've got a 10 club agreement or something like that. And they must put your name down so that they're expecting you there or something like that. But, you know, again, mate, surely that's a concept that you guys listening and watching have got to realise that that's no a model you want to be part of, surely. And again, see that low value. I mean, I know a $5's a lot to some people, right? But charging a $5, why do you think they're charging you a $5? Why do you think a personal trainer's 40 quid and upwards for a session? Because they're charging you a $5 to put you on the scales. That's why they're charging a $5. Don't think it's a good deal. Don't think that you're landing a belter of a deal here for a life-changing transformation, because there's a reason it's a $5. If there's something at that value, there's a reason. Do you have any products that are a $5?
None, me, no yet.
After this, I'll be remodelling the Slimming World model, I'll tell you that.
Fucking missing out here. Nah, mate, I wouldn't. It's no, I don't spend a lot of money on stuff anyway, but I know for a fact that, say I had a back problem, right, and I was going to go and see a physio or a chiropractor, I know I'm going to pay good money for that because the service has got value. If it's going to help fix my back, do you know what I mean? Or if I've got, like, say I've got mental health issues and I go and see a therapist, I expect to pay decent money.
Because life changing.
Because it's life changing, mate. It's going to change something in my life. This one life I've got, mate. That am I going to go through 20 years of having a bad back, or can I go and pay X amount over the 5 or 6 weeks for somebody to actually fix my back for the rest of my life?
So you can work.
So I can work.
Make
so I can
money.
enjoy spending time with my kids. So I can do stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I think because people don't value themselves, mate, at all, it always comes down to, like, eating and fitness just seems a bit expensive to people. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You always think that's why the $5 probably feels like a steal to them, mate.
Yep.
But again, you're paying for. If I was paying a $5 for something, mate, I wouldn't expect much of it.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
If I was paying a $5 for, if a therapist said to me, I'm only a $5, but that's I can just recover to something, he's just trying to share the information with us. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't expect a therapist to deliver a quality session to me for a $5.
No, absolutely. So people need to take note of, if you're paying something like that lower price, there's a reason behind it. Again, this is me trying to get people to come away from the brand, brand Slimming World, and just look and go, right, look at what you're signing up to and look at the service. If it's a $5, there's a reason it's a $5, because it's a numbers game they're playing. They want you in the door to pay your $5, put you on a step of scales. They're basically no paying somebody, or they're just giving them free. Like, the consultants are getting a couple of quid as well, and they're obviously warped by the whole Slimming World concept as well. That's why when you go in, you're now like, oh my God, these people, they've done it, they've been there.
Legends.
The legends of Slimming World.
The Pellies, the fucking Slimming World.
I can see the fucking banner outside the motorway now, you know what I mean?
You like Susan.
Aye. Right, this next one's a good gene, mate. A really good gene. So I lost 2 stone at my strictest. Once I stopped, I put it all back on. I spent about 5 years yo-yo dieting because I didn't know any better. So there's a lot wrong with that sentence there. So I lost 2 stone at my strictest. Straight away, there's a red flag in the word strictest. Once I stopped, I put it all back on. So we know now that it's quite confirmed almost that if you lose weight with Slimming World, you will inevitably put it back on because you don't know how you got it off in the first place. She then spent 5 years yo-yo dieting because she didn't know any better. So 5 years, and this person writing this, I actually asked her after it, I says, how does it feel that you wrote 5 years there? And she says, Chris, I can't believe it was 5 years. Like, see, now look at that, I make myself sick, because you would surely stop after 6 months, 3 months.
Yep.
And go, what am I doing here? Well, why am I putting this weight on and off? And again, it goes back to the very first point I made, the blame game.
Yep.
Nobody turns around and chaps Slimming World door and goes, it's your fault, because we're in a vulnerable position to lose weight, plus we don't know any better. So that's one of the biggest points that I think from this full episode that people can take for this. Mate, I'll go back and I'll break it down so that you can tear it apart in the sense of however you want to take it. Strictest would be a red flag, would you agree?
100%, mate. That word itself, just strictest. But mate, I'm going to go even deeper on the whole thing here. Everything that keeps coming up with the last 3 sentences you've made is all weight related. Nobody here has said, I felt good, I felt terrible, I felt it was life changing. Nobody's actually expressing the deeper feeling. It's all just on the surface level of weight loss. Do you know what I mean? Like, the service that guys like us deliver is and these people are going to lose weight, mate, but there's a deeper reason for it. It's not just to lose weight, even if they don't know it.
Yep.
And that's what everybody's missing here. Like, that sentence she's wrote it really well, and she's explaining how she felt about it. But nobody's the weight loss. Nobody's actually grown about. Did it change their lives?
Yeah.
Were they sleeping better? Were the relationship with their husband better? Were they looking after their kids better? So everything's just pure weight loss, weight loss, weight loss.
Yep.
But the stricter thing, mate, like, you can't. If you put somebody on the strictest diet or the strictest something, there's a good chance you're not going to make it, mate. I don't stick to strict stuff. Do you?
No.
Do you know what I mean? I tried to do a strict regimen. Remember, like 100 hours a week. Just fucked it, mate. It was too hard. When you make something too strict, there's a high chance, unless you're one of the 1% OCD people that just love to be pure heavy in about it. Strict's no good, mate.
Which isn't any of these people.
None of these people, but these are all just people like us, mate. Just normal people who like to get on with their fucking life and try and achieve something. Do you know what I mean? So, but the level that they're stepping into Slim World, that, mate, based on the guys that I know from my classes, their educational levels, like for nutrition and how to actually achieve goals for fat loss and that, is like almost zero.
Yeah, mate. I think you're spot on. The question I asked was, if you made progress, did you retain any of it?
Aye.
If you never made progress, why not? I never says anything about weight loss.
Exactly.
I just
mate.
said, did you make any progress? And like you say, mate, even if you sign up with a personal trainer and coach and you get somewhere and after it you put the weight back on, you probably still say, oh, do you know what? I learned a good bit. I learned how to squat. I learned how to deadlift. I learned how to manage my meals better. I learned how to work my workouts around my working day. You start to, like you say, mate, there's a lot more things you learn. Whether you disagree with, if you signed up with a coach or personal trainer and you had a bad experience, whether that's the case or no, you still can admit that they tried to teach you stuff, 100%. And I think that's a great point, mate. I never really looked at it like that, but it's always about weight loss. And I think the people answering the questions knew that they answered the questions, and a lot of them are now aware of the situation. Like, this girl was mortified to admit that it was 5 years, so she's now aware that it was wrong. But she still answered the question based on weight. She actually said 2 stone.
Yep.
So
always, mate.
And unfortunately, these people are going to have that for the next months, a few years. And hopefully after this full series, you'll actually be like, right, do you know what? It's time to ditch the scales. It's time to move on. Because again, that's another reason why we're doing this and sitting here on a Friday every single week to help you guys. So,
mate, do you remember last week when you said to me it's the process in night fit, and then I said one of the things we do is the 90-day kind of goal setting thing?
Mm-hmm.
I done one this morning. I could read it, and the last couple of days I've been doing them. Do you know what a lot of their goals are, mate? These women, they're on like their 40s and that. They've never done a push-up on their toes before. A lot of them are saying, they're not actually saying I want to lose 2 stone, I want to lose. They're actually saying I would love to be able to do a push-up on my like full toes and hands. Do you know what I mean? Instead of their knees. And that's the kind of stuff you're looking for, mate. You're looking for progress to them, isn't it? Like, even if some of them know and tell me, Chris, I feel like I'm overweight now, and I'm just going to go through the process and show up consistently and listen to what you say about calories and stuff, and it'll just come off. But my big goals is like to say, like, I want to squat 65 kg, I want to do a full push-up. That's the kind of stuff we should be.
Aye.
And I don't tell them to say that, mate. I just sit with them with the form and ask, what would your first goal like to be? What's a big goal you'd like to achieve?
Yep, I think that's refreshing.
Doing a push-up on your toes probably isn't a big thing, everybody, but if you've never been in a gym before and you're 40-year-old and you've never done a push-up, that's a big deal to some people.
I mean, it's refreshing to hear that people want that, and a lot of the people listening and tuning in is Slimming World, like the listeners, and it brings us nicely onto my next point, mate, actually. I don't know if you've experienced this. You might have, obviously, given the fact now that you've the majority of your client base, 40 plus females, but I'm sure there's some other ones in there, and I'm sure you've dealt with them in the past. This girl says, I fell away from it and put it all back on every time. A middle-aged woman kept making remarks saying, why are you even here? This girl's young.
Wow. Young
and overweight at Slimming World. And this middle-aged woman, a few middle-aged women kept making remarks, why are you even here? Because she was young and less overweight than them.
All right, so 2 things there then. So if the older women are asking the young girl why you're even here, are they then bad-mouthing Slimming World in some way, subconsciously? So that's what I was getting for that. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Why are you even here? I'd be like, why are you here? They're all here for the same reason, mate. They've been suckered in with the fiver and the big fancy scales with probably fucking lights flashing in them.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? But that's what I picked up for that straight away. But again, so is Slimming World for middle-aged older women who can lose weight? I don't know. What are they saying there?
She's obviously, I don't know, mate. It could have been a number of things. That's all the lassie said. But if you think of it, she's probably just got less body fat than them.
Aye.
Less body fat than them. She's probably young. She's came in and it's like, Mary's probably been like that. Why are you here? Like, we're all past it. We can't be fixed.
Aye.
And again,
Aye,
obviously, having a dig at Slimming World, whether she means it or no, she's probably used to have a group of 40 plus women going in there, high-fiving when they lose weight, consoling each other when they don't lose weight, and the cycle repeats itself. Because if there's people there for 5 years, like the previous person that answered that question, then there's a bit of longevity in the Slimming World Club. So my guess is that this young lassie stood out like so firm. She's went in there very vulnerable, want to lose weight, and somebody said to her, who's, Slimming World swear by their community vibe. No, picture the scene, mate, right? You're in NitroFit gym. It's 6:15 in the morning, ready to train your 4 people. And a newbie shows up, vulnerable, ready to do this, looks dead young, looks younger than the rest of them. She's maybe 30. She could just be dead young looking. And one of your clients turn and say, why are you even here? You look fine, hen.
No, mate.
Imagine that.
In fact, I might have a text for this morning for the real it started yesterday. I know what you're saying, mate. I'll see if I deleted it though. 2 seconds, but no, I might not be able to find it, mate. You might be able to
Just while you're waiting and Chris pulling his phone up there.
No, I deleted it, mate. Basically, our lassie started yesterday, and her first class was in the morning time. And then the first thing she texts me back saying, I'm not going to lie, Chris, I did feel a bit sick in the class, just because it was a wee bit tough. But I told her to go to her own level for the first couple of weeks. But she said, but all your ladies made me feel so welcome. That's the second thing she said.
She's younger?
Aye, she's most of my women are like 40s and above. She's probably like the same age as me, mate, like 34. So there's not a massive difference, but she has a younger generation as such. But they made her feel just welcome straight away. You see it, mate, like I don't even need to say nothing. They just date themselves, mate. See that, like I was saying, if somebody does do a full push-up on their toes, mate, everybody goes mental in the class.
I love that.
See, if you were there, mate, and you were obviously like, can I do a push-up, and somebody sees you, how about that? Chris just done a push-up on his toes, and then everybody literally goes mental, mate.
Amazing.
And that buzz like you get for that, you know what I mean, they get that and they feel all chuffed and part of something.
Yep. Mate, 40 plus female who is typically overweight that can do a bodyweight push-up. It's not about the push-up. It's not to work your triceps or your chest. You don't care about that. It's a power to body weight ratio.
Aye.
It's a significant thing, and especially for people who at first, when they first came, think they're a lost cause. Do you get that a lot, mate? Do you get people who think they're unfixable?
Mate, they literally think they can't be fixed. They can't do a push-up. They can't do a squat on a barbell. They actually believe in their heads, mate, and that's your job. Like somebody put it up, I can't remember who it was, but sometimes we believe in them more than they believe in us. Well, most of the time we believe in them more than they believe in themselves.
Because we see it and we can fix it, mate. We know.
That's it, mate. I can tell straight away. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, she's got another week or 2 and she's got to do a push-up on her toes. I don't tell her.
No.
And then I say at the beginning of the class, I'm like, I want you to try a push-up on your toes today. Even if you don't get it and you fall flat in your face, I want you to try it. And then they get it, mate, and it's pure rapture in the room.
Aye, love that.
It's brilliant.
Love that. So as well as that, mate, I think when we talk about the community aspect, we talked about your community versus that. I mean, I know this is one person that's had this opinion or had this experience, but I think we can take a lot for just that one experience. It gives us a good visual of what that room could look like. We definitely know that it's probably going to be 30 plus females. If you're younger than that, then I'm guessing you'll probably stick out like a sore thumb. At the end of the day, I know they're starting 14, 13-year-olds and all that. No, bring your daughter or whatever if you can't get a babysitter to step on the scale as well. 2 for 1, might be 2 for £4, who knows. So, I mean, that is pretty much what I took for that. There was, and again, another 30 plus people saying they lost it and put it back on. This question is obviously something that I think every Slimming World user, previous user, and those who filled in the questions for us will agree on, that they put it back on. Listen, see, at the end of the day, we lose clients leave us for financial reasons, for other reasons, maybe just not a good fit, and they put it back on as well, but less often. They have picked up at least 3, 4, 5 good habits that can combat that, because at the end of the day, clients aren't the angels, members aren't the angels. They go back to bad habits. That's what we do. We're human beings. But the fact that the majority, almost all, have said that they put it back on is why we're having this series today, and this is why it's a problem, mate.
Nah, it's so true, mate, and you're right. Like, obviously, we'd be lying if we sat here and said people leave us and they stay in the best shape of their life for the next 10, 15 years, but I can guarantee you we've got more success stories when people leave of success for them long term. Do you know what I mean? I'm confident in some of the people who've left that I still keep in touch with them, and they're still following all the same guidelines we gave. Some of them moved abroad, some of them done different things. And I still check in with some people, mate, especially the ones that I had a good relationship with, like a real closer relationship with, and they're still smashing it, mate. They just kind of, they moved away, and the online stuff wasn't really for them. So, and they felt my job was anyway to give them that education so they could leave at some point and don't need me anymore. And when I'll be checking them every few months, mate. It's not every week, just to see how they're getting on, make sure they're doing all right. And it is, mate, it's a lot of positives.
Aye.
And that's because we put that stuff in place, mate. Like you're saying, like the lab. So like the educational site where if they got a question, they can go in at any time and look at it, and it'll be like, oh, Chris, if you get any tips for no sleeping well at night, why don't you go in the lab and have a wee look? I've got a few videos. If that doesn't work for you, we'll have a wee chat, X, Y, and Z. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, 100%, mate.
Education's the key. We know that. We've said it. Every episode we've brought it up. Educating the clients is the most important thing.
Yep.
It sounds counterproductive because if you're running a business, you think, why do you know what? I keep the same people there for 5 or 6 years and guarantee the pay, guarantee the income.
Yep.
But it's not about that, mate. It's not you run a shitty business when your clients aren't getting any success.
Aye.
Nobody's interested.
Yep.
Because you're just a guy charging money for people showing up, fucking about and not getting any results. Or you could be like some other trainers and say, I don't do transformation pictures because they're creepy. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to see my progress in the mirror.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Mate, don't get me wrong, right? See Nitrofit, like, because a lot of the women, like I said, they're in their 40s and that, they all tell me, Chris, it was a weird experience for me taking the pictures, but I'm so glad I did, because I'm glad I can look back on them now and say, look at my changes.
Yep.
Because it was one of the lassies, Danielle, she won't mind me saying it again. She was like, in her words, mate, she was really, really big, right? And she tells all the women, anybody who feels funny about the pictures, please take them, because I'm so glad I did mine, because the changes are massive, and it's just good to look back at yourself and say, I've came from that to this. It does, mate, it helps. It's what can you get better, mate, than an actual visual representation or something that you can go, look how I looked 6 months ago and look how I look now.
Yep.
It just gives me a massive boost, and it's the picture. Obviously, you can filter stuff and that now, but let's be honest, mate, we're not doing that, are we?
Yep.
We're sending up genuine pictures of people making changes, even if it's no. Sometimes it's no big to pure what they think might be super sexy, mate. It could just be like, oh, I've lost some fat in here, Chris, or it just makes them feel better, mate, because they can see everything you've told them is happening.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mate, that's it. And for people who don't, like, everybody wants to, typically they want to look better / feel better. When you start to look's a loose term, right? Because it's a byproduct of feeling good, is looking. But it does show. And more often than not, when people's motivation starts to dip, things get on top of them, sending them a picture as a reminder can be a massive, massive tool. And I don't know how many times I do it weekly. I do it every single week.
Yep.
Me and Cheryl, we look through the photos, we look through check-ins. The clients who are having a bad week, we send them the photo, and it just makes everything make sense.
Just changes that. But you get a message back saying, Chris, that's me, I'm back.
Aye,
you know what I mean?
back in the game.
They've actually seen it works.
Aye.
And it does work, mate. Of course it does.
So, aye, and obviously they don't have that metric. They don't focus on that metric. They also don't have a way to focus on how somebody feels, which in this day and age is fucking lunacy, because how you feel is more important than how you look, first of all. But if we can have a system where we can ask clients how they feel, you know, we can have a way of them taking pictures or whatever, or telling you how they feel, work trousers, all that good stuff. And unfortunately for Slimming World, they don't have any of that, which is why it's £5. So if you need all those things that we just listed, then it's not the place for you. Nah. I don't know what to tell you.
Nah, it's true, mate. I was just thinking about something and you were talking and you said something. It reminds me of, like, a lot of my women now, mate, they've never really wore like gym vests or shorts, and now they're showing up with vests on and shorts, mate, and everybody's like, you look brilliant in your fucking shorts and your vest on. That,
it's a big thing, mate. Gym clothing
is a big thing for them, mate. They're literally like, they probably put it on and they're a wee bit like, oh, I don't know.
They are,
and see the minute they walk through that door, mate, and then the other 4 women notice it straight away, like that. You look brilliant in your vest, and they're not kidding on, mate. Like, they feel dynamite because of, sometimes they haven't even lost that much, mate, like in terms of like, in the mirror, they don't look in the mirror and go, I've pure came in. You just feel better, mate.
That's what matters.
Just feels brilliant. You know what I mean? So,
and that's like, mate, exactly that.
Confidence in it.
Got a client in here, Kerry, she won't mind me saying, I'm just using your thing.
Won't mind me saying, boys.
She won't mind me saying, but she's mad for a hoodie.
Aye.
Always wears a Glasgow PT hoodie. Always. And she'd said something in check-in one time, like, I'd just love to, one of my goals is just to feel good with a hoodie off. And here one time she took the hoodie off because she was training, and she was hot, obviously. But she was like, She was owning it, do you know what I mean? And then she actually said it the next time, like, and she just wanted to feel better with a hoodie off. So, and that's what she did, mate. And that's what she reported back to us. And every time she's got the hoodie off now, it's how we look like. Right?
Mate.
And that's a big step because, mate, people obviously, it's easy saying to a client, "Oh, you're fine," but it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? They just don't get it. So they have to feel it within themselves. And when they decide to take that moment to press confirm in their basket for the size down with sports bra and t-shirts and stuff like that, that's when it's a big moment. And you know, we're comparing it to Summer because that's what they don't have.
I think honestly, mate, what you just said there about the hoodie and the lassie Kerry is going to be one of the most relatable things to people, mate.
Yep.
If they've not felt it yet, then they need to go and do something about feeling it, because they'll love that moment, mate, where they actually can be free, because they're covering themselves up all the time.
Yep.
Because they don't like what they see and like what they feel.
Kind of a good feeling, man.
Nah, mate, it's no, and it's that's why for us, mate, like you pure know that story, mate, because it means something to you as well.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And for Kerry, it'll be like pure dynamite moment. She'll always remember that.
Aye.
The first time I took my hoodie off in front of everybody,
Aye.
and I got a positive response, and I felt good.
Yep.
So it's
And that
important,
just
mate.
snowballs
It's
into the
important.
rest of your life, mate.
That's that.
Right, mate, that is pretty much it for episode 5. I'm just going to run through the questions, and I want you to say 2 or 3 things that just come straight to your mind.
Just Irvin style.
Oven style.
Oh, what? Let's
Just
do it.
say the summarise it, but
Right.
right.
Aye. Okay.
But 30-40 seconds,
Let's do it.
right?
I'll give my best.
So episode 1, guys, if you've not watched it, was what did you learn from your Summer World experience, Oven?
What did they learn?
Yep.
Most of them fuck all, mate.
Right.
It doesn't work. They show up for a scale. They get asked questions like, "What the fucking? How did you not lose weight?" And they don't have an answer for it, mate. So I don't think they learn much.
Yep. Did your body physically change? What do you think of that episode? What are findings?
Findings, did the body change? I think looking back, mate, I don't think many people. In fact, you know what? They did change it first, probably for the initial.
Body fat. That
No.
was it. That was
Yeah.
all that changed.
Aye.
Innit? Yep.
And then nothing.
Yep. No shape changes, no tone.
No.
Definitely no tone of the muscle, because in order to do that, you need to elicit hypertrophy or lift weights. Did you feel restricted? Episode 3.
I think there was a mix with that one, wasn't there? Like they didn't feel restricted because you could eat all that pasta and stuff. Remember, there was a paradox in there, wasn't there, with
Yep.
the pasta. But some of them did feel restricted because of the sins.
Yep. Absolutely. And episode 4 was what did you think was missing from the experience?
Fucking everything.
Yep.
Wasn't it?
Everything was just listed and more. So you really need to go and listen to that episode. So if you're looking for something from a service, if right now you feel all the things that we've been talking about, you feel that you can't wear certain clothing, you feel sluggish, tired, overweight, then you need to go back and listen to that episode, because that's the episode where we cover all that, and we also reveal how you get over that, how coaches we use certain frameworks and metrics to prompt the client to share that stuff. That for me was my favourite episode, mate, because it showed just how little you get from stepping on a scale to what coaches, Nitrofit and the Glasgow
big
PT
difference.
provide.
Nah, you're right. Just when you're saying that, mate, I thought about 10 different things that they don't get. Like we spoke about, like
Yep.
the sleep stuff and how their relationship is with their kids, how their relationship is with their husbands, work relationships, everything, mate.
Yep. And today's one, mate.
Loved it, mate. It's probably too fresh in my brain. What was the title again?
Have you made progress? Did you retain most of it when
Oh,
you
mate,
left?
everybody to a woman said,
Love that. Everybody to a woman.
see what I done there? It's the
Nice.
modern man there, hear that? Nah, just the fact that, mate, everybody who wrote something back there all said that everything that they ever achieved or what they thought they achieved just went backwards. They all lost a wee bit of weight, put it all back on and then some, and didn't have the tools or the knowledge to go forward themselves, mate, and ultimately achieve what they're looking for. The reason they went there, even if they didn't know it, was they look and feel good.
Yep. Okay, mate. Cool. Anything else you want to add, bud?
No, mate, I've just enjoyed it. I hope everybody who's watched it or will watch this episode and the previous 4 learned something from it. I think it was your idea, mate, to come up with this, and I think it shows, it's testament to you as a trainer, mate, and as a coach, that you take your time to think of these things.
Yep.
To support, hopefully, hundreds of females that might watch this and make better choices in their life, mate.
Yep.
You've not even once tried to say, come and join me at the fucking Glasgow PT gym, do you know what I mean? You're literally just spending, because you need to research all this, mate. It's not
Aye.
just this 1 hour with me 5 times. It's like all the work that went behind the scenes. So well done to you, mate, and it's testament to you as a coach.
Cheers,
I
mate.
love being part of it, mate.
Appreciate that. But aye, mate, there's nobody better to fit the bill. I don't even know what I was thinking. I think I was like, right, I'll just get different coaches and different opinions. But like I said, there's very few coaches that actually deal with people who have done Slimming World more than me, and it's yourself, because we train mostly females as well. So I, mate, right man for the job, and I appreciate you coming through the 2-hour round trip every Friday.
No worries, mate. See that moment when you said we'd done the first episode, and then you text me saying, I want you to do the next 4. That was like better than the moments when my missus told me she was pregnant.
She won't listen to
this. She's not watching this anyway. It's a lie.
Yeah, mate, that's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Right, guys, as always, thank you much for watching and listening. We'd appreciate it if you could share it. If you watched all 5 episodes, please give us a detailed message when you have time. I know that Scotland, or Glasgow anyway, is going to Tier 4, but we've all got a bit more time in our hands than normal. So if you could give us just a message, just detailing what you learned, what you took from it. If it sort of resonated with you, then great. We would love to see to hear your feedback, and a couple of messages, and this will make our last 5 weeks absolutely worth it, because that's all we want to know. We want to know if you learned anything, and we want to know if you took a great deal for it. So thanks again for watching and listening, and thanks to Chris at NitroFit. Make sure you're following him, because he'll be putting out content there that is, honestly, if you've liked what he's said in this, his post will hit the nail on the head for you as well going forward into the busy spell, which is December and January. So yep, and thanks to the big man for the 5 episodes, the man behind the mic, behind the camera, Big Paul. If any of you are thinking of starting a podcast, give me a wee message and I'll point you his way if it's going to be an interesting topic. And yeah, stay safe during this time, and speak to you soon.